All right, welcome to the Smyers and Chambers podcast. Celtics are matched up against the Orlando Magic. Coming up on April 20th, Sunday, is game one at 3:30, I believe the game time is. This is a tougher matchup for the Celtics. The Magic oppose uh, new challenges that other East teams can't, even though it's just a first round series. They're obviously not a true number 7 seed, as the Celtics are the 2 seed, but they're more like a 3 to 4 to 5 seed. They're in that range of team. So this is more of a feeling of a second round matchup. The Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, they're their only offensive scorers, but the other guys can play defense. They're very physical. They get in your face. After the play-in tournament, they beat the Hawks. Trae Young said they injured three of our players. Like, what do you want me to say? And he got also ejected from that game from fake passing the ball to the ref and then throwing it at his face. But yeah, this could be a tough matchup. Celtics obviously will probably win. They have the Magic kind of just don't have the horses. They have the second best defense in the NBA, but they have the 28th worst offense in the NFL, in the NBA, not the NFL. We're in basketball, and uh, yeah, Tatum and Brown should be able to crack this defense. Orlando also gives up the least amount of threes in the NBA, and the Celtics shoot the most amount of threes in the NBA. So that's going to be an interesting uh, matchup and stat to go up against one another. Matt, what do you think about this series coming up?
Um, I'm confident in the Celtics winning. Honestly, I mean the Magic is what 18,
7 seed.
17. Yeah, and Celtics is right now probably the second best team in the league. Uh, it would be pretty disappointing to see the Celtics get blown out by the Magic. And I think that we'll most likely see only 4, 5 games.
Yeah, the second round matchup might be easier than the first round matchup. The second round matchup would most likely be either New York or Detroit, and Detroit opposes the same challenges that the Magic do. Very physical team, great defensive team, not an amazing offensive team though. They have some better weapons, like on a shooting standpoint, than the Orlando can give the Celtics. But yeah, Boston is they got a series. This is definitely a lot more difficult than last year's Miami Heat series, where they finished them in 5 games, but the other 4 games were absolute like blowouts and not even close. There will probably be some close games in here because Orlando plays really good defense and they're very physical. And Boston in the past hasn't responded well through physicality like the better Miami Heat teams they've seen before last season with the Jimmy Butler Miami Heat. How they get up in their space and make them go a certain way and make them dictate the pace of the game. The Celtics don't really like that. They have Kristaps Porzingis, who's a skinnier, more slender player who is more finesse, not power. He doesn't deal well with guys getting up under him. Like before he came here, Marcus Smart, when he was on the Celtics, he'd give Porzingis a lot of problems.
Yeah, I definitely think physicality will be a big problem for the Celtics. Especially Magic's play style really leans towards being more physical, especially when they have to make up for their weaker offense.
Yeah, but these games will probably go like this. It'll be a close matchup. It'll go kind of back and forth, and then Orlando's offense will go on like a 5 minute scoring drought where they'll put up 0 points, and the Celtics will continue to score. And this could just go 4. It could go 5. I'd be very surprised if it goes 6. If it goes 6, that's a disappointment to the series. You don't want to be going that far with the team that will rough you up like the Orlando Magic. And let's look at some other playoff games around the league for game 1. Celtics play on the second day of the NBA playoffs. The first day should be the 19th, I believe. Yep, the 19th. We have Bucks at Pacers. I have the Pacers winning that series. The Bucks aren't very good. Dame's dealing with blood clots, and I think the Pacers are just the second best team in the Eastern Conference playoffs. I think they're better than the Cavs. I think the Celtics are number one. Game after that, Nuggets Clippers. I have the Nuggets winning the series also. Uh, I'm not a big believer in Kawhi Leonard. Ever since his run with the Toronto Raptors, where he carried them to a championship, he hasn't been healthy at all, and I believe him to fall early. This could be a good series. You know, the Nuggets fired Mike Malone. Uh, Knicks Pistons. I have the Knicks winning this series, but they're trash, and the Pistons are also trash though. So the Pistons are trash, but they haven't been in the playoffs before. They're very inexperienced, and yeah. And then the Lakers Timberwolves. I have the Lakers winning this series. I think LeBron and Luka are a tough matchup to beat. I think the Timberwolves pairing or trading Karl Anthony Towns for Julius Randle is not a good trade. I don't think that's a good That's a good fit, and we'll see what happens in those games. Let's go back to the Celtics for a second. Uh, Jason Tatum is good. A lot of people predict him to have a giant scoring playoff run.
I mean, yeah, I think that Jason Tatum especially would score probably 20, 25, maybe even 30 points a game. He's been pretty consistent throughout the entire season. And now that we're coming up to the playoffs, it's going to be a big moment for him to shine.
Yeah, the Magic, obviously the second best defense in the NBA. It's gonna be tough for him, but you know, you got your superstar player. It's pretty hard to guard a 6'10" guy that moves like lightning quick and has a really tight ball handle and a great shot. He virtually has no weaknesses, but yeah, Jalen Brown dealing with his knee injury, playing through that. Kristaps Porzingis is probably gonna hurt somewhere down the road. That he hasn't been. I can't name the last time he hasn't missed a game throughout 2 months of basketball, which is how long the playoffs are. And I think Tatum will. The Celtics will go as far as Jason Tatum can take them.
I mean, do you think that the knee injury from Jalen Brown's going to affect the series at all?
It could, but more in the future because the Magic don't have a great offense, and I think Tatum can carry the load offensively, but Jalen Brown at 80-70% after he took a quarter zone shot or whatever the shot he took in his knee to make himself feel better. I think if JB isn't that great defensively in the series, we still should win. But like when we play teams like the Pacers or the Cavs or OKC, we need him to be able to at least be the best defender that he can possibly be.
Well, that's why the physicality from the Magic has got me kind of concerned that some of the players on the Celtics team could end up with a lot of injuries that could affect us throughout the entire playoffs run.
Yeah, I mean, we also have a lot of durable players and guys that play through stuff. The only guy that really doesn't is Kristaps Porzingis. If he goes down, he's down. But Tatum hasn't missed a playoff game his entire career. Uh, Jalen Brown, I he has missed a playoff game his entire career. He's missed one playoff series before, and we lost that in the first round. But he is very durable as well, but he also plays very physical and very fast. So he picks up injuries, but he still bounces back immediately. Drew Holiday is very durable, even though he's getting older. Derek White doesn't get hurt. Like there was a period of time before he came here where he hasn't missed a game throughout his entire career until he started taking rest games because when he was on the Spurs, they had to compete for every game just to make the playoffs. And then when he's on the Celtics, you don't have to play the last like 5-7 games because they're already clinched into a spot into the NBA playoffs. But yeah, I think injuries could play a role. And well, that's the only way the Celtics don't make the finals is injuries. That's really the only way. I don't think the Pacers, they swept last year. The Pacers got a little bit better just off of playing together with one another because, you know, they traded for Siakam midway through the season. And chemistry isn't as high as it could be if you play the entire year and training camp together, which now they have. But still, the Pacers can't. If especially this is the one series where it gets a little awkward, but then there's a trade off. The East is easy. The East is a cakewalk this year for the Celtics. So just like last year, the one team in the entire conference that can play defense at a high level that can actually match up with the Celtics bar when it comes to their defensive guys on our offensive guys is the Magic. But then they have the 28th ranked offense. So that should pull them down all the way unless they have a like outlier shooting game throughout the entire series.
I mean, yeah, you could have the best defense ever, but if you have no offense, I don't really see this being much of a challenge for the Celtics.
Yeah, water reaches its level. But I think, you know, every team that's in the playoffs, if we do get the Lakers, if we do get the Warriors, if we do get hopefully not OKC because they have nobody you can go against on defense to mismatch hunt. OKC is like a slightly worse version of the Thunder on defense, but magnificent on offense. They have the potential MVP Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. That's the one team I don't want the Celtics to see in the playoffs. I don't care if they see the number one seeded Cavs, but I think the Magic shouldn't stand a chance. I think everyone else in the Eastern Conference shouldn't stand a chance because all the top seeds have giant holes on defense that the Celtics are very good at exploiting, even past the Joe Mazzulla era. But yeah, who do you think we're gonna see in the second round if we get past Orlando?
I definitely think we'll see the Knicks.
Knicks, New York.
Yeah.
Yeah. Higher seed. We could see the Pistons as well. I'd rather see the Knicks though, because the Celtics smacked around the Knicks in the regular season.
I
Tatum
think
averaged 33.5, 6-6 against them.
I think the
games.
Knicks and the Pistons are pretty closely matched up together. But I think that the Knicks would definitely come out strong.
Yeah, and the Pistons don't have the experience. Like a lot of those players, this is their first playoff game. I'd love to see B. Stews though get into a lot of fights in the playoffs and throw some hands. That's what he does best in the regular season. He's gotten suspended, I believe, like twice this year. But
Yeah, I definitely think there will definitely probably not be any surprises in the Eastern Conference. What do you think about the Western?
I as a Celtics fan, I don't want to see OKC. I'd I'd rather what I think it'd be OKC or Lakers because Luka Doncic beat OKC last year when he was at Dallas, but it feels like how it is right now is OKC and Boston is inevitably gonna crash each other in the meet each other in the finals. Like it's inevitable, but there's been plenty of years where it felt like that with Boston. Like 2 years ago, 2023, Boston, Milwaukee. It felt inevitable that they're gonna see each other in the Eastern Conference Finals. Then Giannis gets hurt and they lose to the Heat in 5 games. Last year, it felt inevitable that the Celtics were going to play the defending champion Denver Nuggets and Nikola Jokic. Anthony Edwards takes them out in the second round in 7 games. And then they end up seeing Luka and the Mavs, and they win that. They win the championship. So who knows? Maybe we don't see OKC. Maybe we see Minnesota. Maybe we see the Lakers again. Maybe we see the Warriors. I feel like Lakers and Warriors would definitely be the most fun because it's Lakers Celtics is the biggest rivalry in sports, pretty much. I'd say Red Sox Yankees, but it's more Boston. Boston, LA is the biggest in basketball.
I mean, Boston has a really long history of rivalry in sports. I mean, you see with the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Boston Bruins, or like you said, the Red Sox and the Yankees. And you also have the Lakers and the Celtics.
And Patriots, Giants.
And I think, honestly, if we see home games in Boston, this could be a factor. If we see Lakers versus Celtics.
Yeah, Boston would have a home court advantage for that. They have home court advantage in the finals for everybody but OKC. OKC would be in OKC. And OKC, none of those players, I believe, except for Alex Caruso, who's at the tail end of his career, has made it to the finals. So it's tough to make it to the finals without home court, without any experience, because it's like a spectacle. I don't know if you've seen it, but you have so many media days. It's like the practices are broadcasted live to everybody. It's like you got Jimmy Kimmel's crew coming up there like every day, and they have like the little Mexican guy, I forget his name, and he goes around like interviewing the players. Like he gave when the Celtics their first trip to the finals in 2022, at least not their first trip, but the iteration with Tatum and Brown, they were up there and he had a Magic 8 ball. and he'd give them a Magic 8 ball, and they'd shake it, and it'd say, "Give Guillermo." Guillermo was his name. Give Guillermo
Guillermo.
$20, and it'd say it every time. And you got you're dealing with a lot more when it comes to the NBA Finals. It's not just basketball. It's you that stuff builds up the pressure, like all the other stuff, all the celebrity stuff, and being at home definitely helps that more because like you're at home, you can chill out. You're at least in a familiar stadium when you're through media day and stuff. But yeah, OKC would be at home, which would help them. So I hope we don't see OKC, but it feels like that team's pretty. They have no weaknesses. The Celtics have no weaknesses. Let's see what happens. It might just end up being my guys are better than your guys.
Yeah, I think we're really leaning towards OKC versus Celtics, which would definitely be really good basketball and towards the finals.
And I feel like the Magic might hold the biggest like threat to the Celtics, or maybe the Pacers. But the Magic are gonna be one of the biggest punches that the East can throw, and yeah, getting this in the first round, maybe this will warm them up, like get them ready to go, get them playoff ready, because they maybe they need that punch to the face that Orlando's gonna give them. It'd be a better matchup than what Cleveland's getting with Miami.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely like kind of a motivation, such momentum aspect of it. If the Celtics just blow out the Magic, that could be that could harm them in the future, especially going against harder teams that you may not be as prepared for it.
Yeah. Um. Let's take a look at every playoff series, and you and me will make predictions on who do you think. I'll elaborate, and you can just do whatever you want. You can just predict the bracket. Let me let it load in real quick on my phone. All right. Who do you got? Thunder, Grizzlies. Let's start in the Western Conference. Thunder or Grizzlies?
I'm gonna go with Grizzlies,
Grizzlies over the Thunder?
100%.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with the Thunder because the Thunder are a better basketball team. The Grizzlies haven't been a team that has a better winning record than losing record since March. So, and they fired their head coach in late March also. Nuggets, Clippers. Who do you got? Nuggets, Clippers.
I think that one's gonna be really tough. Both are good teams. I'm gonna lean towards the Nuggets.
All right. Yeah, I got Nuggets in 6. I'll say Nuggets in 6.
Nuggets in 6. I think we would even see Game 7.
I think Jokic is a much better player than everybody else on the Clippers. Obviously, he's the best player in the NBA. I'm not a believer in Kawhi. Like I said earlier in the show, I'm not a believer in James Harden, even though he's a little washed up. So, you want to give him a little bit of a break. He's getting older. But even with the Nuggets firing their head coach, I have the Nuggets. But Zubac, the starting center for the LA Clippers, he is the best Jokic defender. But I don't know. I'd always pick offense over defense, specifically in the NBA. And I'm an offensive guy throughout my entire sporting career. Lakers or Timberwolves?
I think the Lakers 100%. Like even with now the Lakers have Luka, of course, and the Luka LeBron matchup, I think it's gonna be very powerful, and I think that the Timberwolves don't have enough defense against that.
Yeah, I think I'll pick Lakers in 6. I think Anthony Edwards is a great player. I think he'll push them to 6, but I feel like the Lakers are heading to the conference finals probably. Rockets or Warriors?
That one's tough. I'm gonna say the Warriors,
Yeah,
but that one I'm not really too sure about.
I'd say Warriors too. Rockets are too inexperienced, even though they have a coach that has the experience. Ime Udoka coached the Celtics, and I think the Rockets are going, or the Warriors are one of 3 teams that can make the finals. And yeah, I kind of already said my predictions for the Eastern Conference. I'll just go through it real quick. I have the Cavs beating the Heat, Pacers beating the Bucks, Knicks beating the Pistons, Celtics obviously beating the Magic, Celtics beating the Knicks, Pacers upsetting the number 1 seed Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Celtics beating the Pacers. And I probably will have Celtics Thunder, Celtics Lakers, Celtics Warriors in the NBA Finals. And I think that'll do it for this podcast. Unless you have anything else to say.
No, I think I'm good. Yeah.
All right. Well, When in doubt, Celtics in five. Celtics in five probably for Thunder.